Please join me in welcoming someone who has indeed made the commitment, Kendall College's commencement speaker, Mr. Steve Casey.
Good morning. Graduates, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. This is, I want to say thank you, first of all, to Kendall College, the trustees, President Gernston, the alumni, parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles, who've come to share in the triumph of your fine graduate achievements. I want to congratulate you all, the class of 2011, for reaching the first of many milestones to a fulfilling, balanced, and personal and professional life. Because it's easy to chase the money and get paid. It's another thing to get paid by sharing your blessings with others. One evening when your business professor, Aurora Rinke, and I were having one of our catch-ups on those business plans that were developed for Fresh Moves, thanks, Annette. Thank you. At the end of that call, Ms. Rinke says to me very casually, "Would you like to be our graduation speaker?" I was speechless. For anybody that knows me, speechless is not a trait I own. Since that call and I stopped doing my happy dance, I frequently ask myself why. Even putting the touches on this speech this week, I still ask why. But let me share a small story, short story with you about what my colleagues and I have been doing for the last 4 years in our outside life that might be the answer to that question. But first, let me provide some context to the issue that we've been working to solve. Our journey started about 4 years ago when my friend Jeff Penzino called to go to lunch to discuss food deserts, the new PC term to describe neighborhoods like Lawndale and Austin on the west and parts of Inglewood to the south, geographic areas with no or distant grocery stores. I happen to live in Inglewood. It's considered a food desert. But first, let me provide some definition and facts about food deserts from Mari Gallagher, a food desert researcher. Food deserts are areas that lack access to affordable fruit, vegetable, whole grain, low fat, and other foods that make up a range of a healthy diet. In 2006, over 600,000 people lived in these communities. From September of 2010 to June of 2011, the food desert population, quote, quote, reduced from 550,000 to 383,000, about a 30% reduction. In my opinion, the academic number may say one thing, but just because the distance to new brick and mortar got a little closer, doesn't change the fact that their access for city residents, not just here in Chicago, but across the country, they still lack access to affordable, quality fruits and vegetables, which is the foundational food that will change our nation's healthcare costs. The total current food desert population consumes about 100,000 children. About 70% of those people in food desert neighborhoods are African American. The remaining 30% is split between whites and Latinos. Unless conditions improve, it's very simply to predict that there will be a continued premature death and suffering of food desert residents as a result of diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and other certain types of cancer. Pretty bleak, huh? Would you go to lunch with Jeff? During lunch, Jeff only had 3 questions. Was it true? Could food access be that dire in communities? How do you and your family do it? And can this be solved? First 2 were easy. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's that dire. And I have a car. I got 3. The third question, though, sent Jeff and I along with some friends on an odyssey of sorts trying to create a solution to this simple but yet seemingly unsolvable structural issue. The basic social justice or civil right issue, the unencumbered access to quality and fruits and vegetables on a 365-day basis. I personally believe that when access, along with price and quality, are honorably restored, and I repeat, honorably restored, in communities like these, that through the simple change of diet, there's a strong possibility these people will change their health outcomes. Our team looked at everything from a conventional corner store to a used RV. They all had limitations and challenges that ranged from raising $1 million to acquire and build, to not being fit for a wheelchair without significant retrofit costs. But more importantly, we wanted to be able to withstand our winters, our deep Chicago winters, and still roll, because people still need to eat in January. We placed our sights then on a Chicago transit bus, a people mover turned into a produce mover. After about 2 years and our CTA idea gaining some steam, Jeff and I welcomed another team member, Sheila Muhammad, the daughter of a grocer with experience in health and community development, to our team. She, in turn, turned us over to a team of pro bono architects, Architects for Humanity, who to date have donated over 600 hours with a $95,000 worth of value to produce some architectural renderings. Their initial design charrette yielded 5 renderings that helped CTA visualize our dream. It was the best presentation I never gave. Why? Because when we walked in the door, they were sold based on those pro bono designs. Architects for Humanity, beaming with the confidence of those drawings that CTA greenlighted, then introduced us to a group called EPIC. EPIC's a pro bono set of creatives, website designers. They pair teams of select creatives with not-for-profit professionals whose mission is to focus on education, children, and families. In 8 weeks, they took us from a stodgy, dry moniker, Food Desert Action, to something sexy called Fresh Moves, a mobile produce market. And that value of that work was almost $75,000. I could keep telling you more about our Fresh Moves story, but that's not why I was brought here. I was brought here today through the collective work of my colleagues to share our commitment toward achieving a single vision. From that initial lunch conversation almost 4 years ago, to developing a concept for a solution, pitching the concept to funders, building infrastructure for a not-for-profit organization, solidifying community partnerships, and acquiring a retired city bus for $1. Our commitment is demonstrated in achieving the launch of Fresh Moves last month. This was all done when any of us could have walked away due to life circumstances. Let me give you some milestones that were easy or acceptable good reasons to walk away. We've all used them. The birth of children. Jeff had one 2 years ago. I had one 7 weeks ago, my wife and I, and 2 weeks before launch of that business. All of us hold down full-time jobs. Jeff and Sheila had 2 job changes, and I had a significant job increase as of the last year. Sheila's moved her house twice. I personally acquired 2 rental properties in my neighborhood and also became a grandfather. And all of us have had significant family illnesses. Commitment means a lot commitment means so many different things to so many different people, and you'll never know where you stand on their commitment meter. But I challenge you, I believe you yourself should be committed to your own set of personal values, principles, and beliefs. You must have a personal vision and purpose for what you are about to commit to. In your personal life, you must have inherent personal integrity and self-confidence. You must have a personal goal for self and community improvement. I repeat, self and community improvement. And you must follow that goal until you are comfortable with its outcome, not someone else. Time and time again, we all found ourselves saying, we're gonna volunteer, I'm gonna call Aunt Jane, I'm gonna clean up that lot. You get the point. How many of us really follow through? Not many. My personal commitment's rooted in what I call the 3 Ps. Patience, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Persistence, the firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Perseverance, steadfastness in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. I think we found all of that in the last 4 years. Being committed and staying committed is no easy task. Someone once said, wavering commitment can be considered as no commitment at all. If you're really committed and genuine in that commitment, it will always stand the test of time. Commitments will change as time goes on. Current goals may have to be revamped or refined. You may have to take some form of risk to make changes necessary to fulfill those commitments. Take that risk. Be willing to improve your goals and expectations to accomplish the end results. Keep your commitment in the forefront of your heart and mind, and things you always dreamed about will become reality. For those that need a research perspective, because some are real cerebral like that, theory says that the combination of supporting behavior and improving behavior are the ingredients of true commitment. Supporting behavior in its simplest terms involves helping or to create or provide the environment, circumstances, equipment, information, or the logistical or psychological assistance that make it possible for people to take action. If you don't have a combination of supporting behavior and improving behavior, neither will sustain your commitment. Commitment's a personal thing we all face every day. Being committed and staying committed is a mindset that each of us must address in our lives if we want to become a success. As a group of part-time activists, food activists as we've recently been called, under the banner of Food Desert Action or Fresh Moves, we know a little bit about making a commitment. We've created a novel solution to a dire issue that's plaguing communities of color to the west and south of this location today and across this entire country. We've created a solution and made a commitment to solve something that either big grocery won't or can't solve. We did it after hours, via email and texting, with an occasional face-to-face meeting. We're not claiming success is going to come to every half-cooked or half-baked idea when you pitch it. But what we are claiming, that is if you bring your A game, you know, the skills that landed you that job, or that girl, or even that paper you wrote, then the implementation of your first personal values, principles, and beliefs, as well as your pure intentions in the pursuit of that endeavor, your outcomes will yield fruit. Sometimes, in our cases, literally real fruit. For those that know me, I'm my own version of Emeril Lagasse, not in a culinary sense, but in the spirit of his phrase, taking it up a notch. Recently, my pastor stated, the problems or issues you see should be the ones you or should solve or be a part of solving. We have given our commitment in our volunteer lives to birth a functional, possibly sustainable solution for one of the nation's solvable issues. In class of 2011, I'm setting forth the challenge to you this morning to find your own issue that needs to be solved. And isn't that what we're here for? Isn't that what Kendall's mission has driven you to graduate behind? To contribute to the vibrancy of our communities and be responsible global citizens? So in closing, I challenge you to take it up a notch by always bringing your A game, remembering those 3 Ps, persistence, patience, and perseverance to demonstrate that commitment. Thank you, Kendall College and graduating class of 2011 for having me this morning. Thank you.